Alright, so this is Mr. Sindel. I'm going to be like 15 minutes late today because I have to drop off Riley at some daycare that he's never been to before. Here's your warm-up. Find the next two numbers in the sequence. Find the next two numbers in the sequence. I'm sure a lot of you have seen number 1 before, so you should be able to work together, figure out what the answer is. Number 2, though, is hard. I don't know if any of you have ever seen this type of sequence before, so I'm going to put a bounty out for number 2. I'm going to say that if you can solve number 2 and you have to actually get the next two numbers in the sequence correct so that the pattern holds, then I'll give you 1 point of extra credit. Yeah, let's go ahead and some notes. You should be working on the warm-up for maybe like, I don't know, 5 minutes-ish. These notes are in the tower, I believe, already, in that black tower on Mr. Sindel's desk. Our objective today is for slope-intercept form, identify the slope and y-intercept, create an equation, that's a typo, create an equation, and graph the line. By the way, today's date is Tuesday, October 29th, 2019. We are doing slope-intercept form. And I'm curious how many of you actually have seen slope-intercept form before, but here's the general form for slope-intercept form. It's always y equals. You're always going to have y equals, and then over here you're going to have mx plus b, where m, this right here, is the slope. You'll always have an x, and then the b is the y-intercept. Y-intercept. So that's how you can abbreviate intercept. The full way to spell is right here, or right here. Yeah, that's mainly what I need to say. So an example of a slope-intercept equation would be y equals 3x plus 1, or even this would be an example. Y is equal to negative 2 plus 5x. Even though the x has been switched around. Oh, here you go, bud. You want some food. You're welcome. Even though the x has been switched around, this is still slope-intercept form. I just do prefer it this way if you are writing it, but if you see it this way, know that it's still slope-intercept form even though the x is last. And again, the number in front of the x, so here's the x, the number or the coefficient in front of the x is always going to be the slope. So let's jump down here to number 1, example 1. What is the slope and y-intercept of this equation? Well, again, the slope is always the coefficient, and I'll write this out under here, I guess. This is called the coefficient. The coefficient in front of the coefficient for this term is negative 3, so the slope here is negative 3, and then the y-intercept, it's not 5. 5 is just a number. Your y-intercept needs to be a point on the graph. So your point on the graph is 0, 5. Again, the y-intercept, make a note if you forgot, is where x is equal to 0. So this x-coordinate should always be 0 for the y-intercept, which is going to be pretty nice for this lesson because over and over again you're going to be putting 0, something, 0, something. All right, so example number 2, what is the slope and y-intercept of this thing? Ooh, it looks a lot different, right? So if there's no number in front of this, it looks like there's just a negative. You can always assume that there's a 1 here. So I can write this off to the side. If you have x, that's the same thing as 1x. If you have negative x, that's the same thing as negative 1x. So in this case I have negative x, so this is really negative 1x. So what's the slope? Well, the slope again is still the coefficient, so what number is in front? Negative 1 in this case. The y-intercept is even more confusing because I don't see one, right? So if you don't see one, it's 0, because if I have y equals negative x, that's the same thing as y equals negative x plus 0. So 0 in this case is the y-intercept. I should say 0, 0 is the y-intercept. It goes through the origin, 0, 0. So if you don't see any number without an x next to it, the y-intercept will be 0. You'll have a few problems like that on the homework, I think, maybe 1 or 2. Example number 3, complete the equation of the line whose y-intercept is 0, negative 4 and slope is 1. So now we're kind of going backwards. It's giving us the information. We need to make the equation. So y is equal to 1x, 1 is the coefficient, so we can say 1x, or if you just want to say y is equal to x, that's also fine. Y is equal to x, and then I'm going to do minus 4. Minus 4. Done. It's that easy. All right. So that's the first part of the homework. 1, 2, and 3, example 1, 2, and 3 are all one homework assignment. The second homework assignment is actually graphing these things. So let me show you how to analyze these graphically. Go grab some more food, bud. Go grab some more. So here we have an equation, and the general rule of thumb is to graph this thing first. So I'm going to put a little 1 with a circle next to it. Do this thing first. Graph the y-intercept first. So you go 2 on the y-axis. Again, the y-intercept here is 0, 2, which means I'm going right 0. I'm not moving left or right. And then I go up 2, which means my y-intercept on the y-axis is 2. So it's an easy number to graph. If I see 2, go 2 on the y-axis. And then from there, use the slope to find at least one more point. And again, I say at least one more point because you can find 2 points, 3 points, 4 points. It makes your graph slightly more accurate the more points that you have, unless you're a really, really accurate person when it comes to using your ruler. Oh yeah, by the way, you're going to need a ruler for this problem, so you might need to pause the video now and grab your ruler. Sorry about that. All right, so the slope, again, this is, you have to, here, throw this away, please, and grab another snack pack. This, whenever you see a negative, assume that the negative goes with the top. It just makes it easier to have the same consistent message. By the way, this is step number 2 that we're doing now. So I'm assuming that it's -2. The bottom number is always how much right you're going. Always, always, this is how much, I'm going to do this in red. This is always how much right. So this number right here is how much right you're going. And then this top number is how much up or down you're going, depending on if it's positive or negative. So I'm going to say up or down, depending on if it's positive or negative. So up is a positive, down is a negative. I know I'm getting kind of squished here. Maybe I can move my 1 right there. So up is positive, down is negative. So that means I'm going to go 3 right and 2 down. So from this point, you start with your y-intercept. I'm going to go 3 right and 2 down. So 3 right, 1, 2, 3. So I'm right here now, and I'm going to go 2 down, 1, 2, and I have my point. And again, you can do the opposite of that. Here you go, bud. Here's your snack pack. Riley, there you go. Pay attention. All right, so of course I can do the inverse of that. I can go, instead of going right 3 down 2, I can go left 3 up 2. So left 2, 3, up 1, 2, and I can get this point right here. Again, the more points that you have on your graph, the better. And there's my graph. Let's go ahead and use some technology. You guys will be using a ruler, and it should go like that. Cool, cool. So you guys now are going to be doing example. Oh no. Okay, so if I'm here by this point, I don't think so. This is a quick video. This should be example number 5. The game board needs to give everyone 70 XP. I don't know why I keep doing that. Oh well, it's annoying. So example number 4. Go for it. Try it yourself. Pause the video. And here I go. So to do this one, I opened it for you. Here, this is for you. No? Okay. You go up 5 on the y-axis first. So I'm going to go up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that is my first point. An easy point. The next point is harder. This is saying 3 down right here. This is saying 3 down. Sorry, 3 right. What am I saying? 3 right. It's always right. Sorry about that. 3 right. And then the top number, make that one negative. So it's going to be -4. -4 means up or down? It means down. So this is going to say 4 down. That's how to interpret the slope of this equation. So I'm going to go 3 right from this point, always from the y-intercept. 1, 2, 3 right, and then 4 down. 1, 2, 3, 4 down, and I get this point right here. And I can do that again, right? I can go 3 right again. 1, 2, 3, and then 4 down. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I get my new point right here. And I do it again. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, and I can go backwards as well. I can go left 3, up 4 to 9, and look, I have a ton of points, which means my line is going to be really, really accurate. And there it is. All right, I don't know why that's there. And then finally, example number 5. You can scratch out the example number 4 to make that a 5. Thank you, bud. We need to graph this equation. So again, it's hard, but you have seen how to do this type of problem, kind of. I've shown you up on the front page. Go ahead and try it. All right, so you've unpaused the video now. The key to this one is making this a 1x or a 1 over 1x. So 1 on the bottom, which is a hidden 1, that means I'm going to go 1 right. And then a positive 1 on the top means 1 up. So go 1 right, 1 up from this point, -4. So first, graph this one. I forgot to do my first step. My first step is to graph -4 for the y-intercept, which is down here. And then I'm going to go 1 up, 1 right, 1 up, 1 right, 1 up, 1 right, 1 up, 1 right, one up, one right, and I can make a ton of points. But you see the pattern. It's kind of going through these diagonals of the squares, diagonals of these lattice points, and that means I can predict by using my line. I'm like, okay, just keep going diagonal, 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 and it actually goes through that point, and it's diagonal, 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 all the way through those points, and there is my line. Cool, and that is all of the notes. So go ahead and start on Khan Academy. There should be 2 assignments up. Yeah, thanks for watching.